The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
It's time. It's time for
Coffee time.
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 And here is your Coffee Time crew.
Well, good Thursday morning to everyone, and as always, welcome back to Coffee Time with Blind United. I got my brother Pedro with me this morning. Good morning, Pedro.
Thank God it's Thursday.
Well, and we're saying thank God because technically this is going to be our Friday. Little
Thank
quick
God it's Thursday.
program notice. Bottom line, after today, there will be nothing from Blind United. We don't have no groups today anyway, but bottom line, Blind United is taking the holiday weekend off. So once we end the stream today, we'll see you back on Monday. So hopefully everybody enjoys their 4th of July holiday and stay safe and, enjoy you some good barbecue and some good company and, and just, man, enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? Try to let go of all the stress of what's going on in the world and just, just kick back and, get around some good people and, and just enjoy your time. You know what I'm saying? So
Honestly, I'm not celebrating 4th of July due to what's happening, so I'm not. Because of the holiday, what it represents our freedom and from under a thumb of tyranny, you know what I mean? And that's what is
right,
getting inflict on us right now to to a certain group of people. First is that group of people, and then it will be all people within the country.
right. I mean, I get it. I totally understand. So, I mean, myself personally, do I have anything special planned? No, I'm just enjoying the time off, period. So,
I
but
know, but it's sad, and I love this country. I love what the country has stand for, what the rights we have, the freedoms we have. This experiment that's been running, the only type of experiment run like this in the entire world, and it could be on the edge of a cliff right now.
next year will be 250 years.
I know
250 years of this experiment. I mean,
it's been
I mean,
working.
it's working. I mean, again, quit messing with it. That's what you need to do. Quit trying to take it backwards and let it flow naturally like it was intended to do. You know, and we adapt the Constitution to for the changing times as we move forward, but we don't take it backwards. That's never been acceptable. So, but anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump into these articles. Again, we got a lot of great stuff coming up as well. We got our '90s party going on. We got our T-shirt sale stuff going on. Thinking about doing this month also a like a Uno tournament kind of thing, on RS Games where, get people to come out and we can challenge each other and play Uno and get us a little tournament going, and offer something, for the winners of that. So Pedro working on, maybe bringing in some stuff to where we can, build a bridge and connect with our Spanish community here because regardless of what the little orange monster says, we all on this planet together. You know what I'm saying? I give a damn. You know, I appreciate my neighbors. All that good stuff. So I don't want to see any of them get.
And what's our motto? What's our motto, Ed?
Building bridges, closing gaps, and making connections. You know what I'm
And we're
saying?
true
So,
to that.
again, so we're trying to stay with all of that, and Like I said, so we're going to keep doing what we do. So anyway, we got our first article. It's a little twist on immigration. So, man, I got a lot of respect for this lady. What's her? I can't remember her name. The new president of Mexico.
Oh, Shy Bomb.
Yeah, Saibam. So check this out. What she got going on down in Mexico, y'all.
Blind United crew. For our first cup this morning, we're looking at an immigration story that might surprise you, one that flips the script on the typical narrative we hear in the news. While the U.S. immigration debate often focuses on the southern border, a noteworthy trend shows that Mexico is actively enforcing its own immigration laws, leading to the deportation of a growing number of U.S. citizens. These removals happen for a variety of reasons, ranging from simple visa overstays to criminal behavior, reminding Americans that the rule of law applies to everyone living or traveling abroad. The most common reason for deportation remains administrative, overstaying the 180-day limit on a standard tourist visa. For years, many Americans lived in Mexico as perpetual tourists by doing border runs. However, Mexico's National Institute of Migration, INEM, has cracked down on this practice, now requiring those who wish to live in the country long-term to obtain the proper residency visas. Those who fail to do so risk being detained and removed. However, a significant number of deportations are a direct result of criminal behavior, with many cases being widely reported. For instance, it is a frequent occurrence for U.S. fugitives to be located and arrested by Mexican authorities, often in coordination with U.S. Marshals. In a recent, verifiable case, a U.S. citizen wanted for homicide was arrested in the border state of Baja California and immediately deported back to the United States to face justice. The reasons are not limited to fugitives. In another recent incident reported by news outlets in tourist areas, an American tourist in Cancun was deported after being arrested by local police for assaulting a taxi driver during a payment dispute. This serves as proof that disorderly or violent conduct can lead to swift removal from the country. These cases underscore the fact that non-citizens who commit crimes in Mexico can and will be deported, often after facing local legal consequences like fines or jail time. This enforcement is a powerful reminder that Mexico is a sovereign nation that actively manages its borders and enforces its laws. The days of treating parts of the country as a consequence-free zone are over, and the expectation is that all foreign visitors and residents, including Americans, must abide by the country's legal and immigration framework. This situation is a powerful reminder that immigration laws are a reality for citizens of every country. We invite you to not only share your thoughts on Mexico's enforcement of its own laws, but also share in the comments any experiences you've had with navigating visa or residency rules while traveling or living abroad. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, first off, let me say good morning to Monica. Monica popped in, say good Thursday morning. So good morning, Monica. But I mean, what made me, check into this is I was seeing where a lot of mega folks are going down into Mexico and they just going off. They messing with people. How you gonna go down there and mess with them in their own country? That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, and then it's, it also has a lot to do with a lot of these folks that are, as they mentioned in here, that are what they call them nomads, the ones that work nomads or cyber nomads, whatever they call them. They're working, down there. And I mean, they've taken up residence, because of the cost of living down there, all this other kind of stuff. But okay, but you still can't go down there and treat them people like they're lesser than you. You know what I'm saying? Especially in their own country. I mean, I seen a piece where they were talking about this guy was going off on what are they called, Pedro? I want to call them the mariachis, the bands that they get together and these guys go around and they'll just play at different clubs. They'll play here for a few minutes, get what money they can get from out of here, and then I mean, again, It's honest work. They ain't stealing from nobody, you know. But again, how you gonna tell these people in their own country they can't do this? You know, and then you're gonna get belligerent and violent with them and all that. So I mean, that's what led me to doing this article. But anyway, I mean, again, she's doing her thing down there. You know, but at the same time, I guess that's why she's not, you know, hasn't made a whole lot of, you know, comments on, you know, what Trump is doing, other than the fact that, you know, it's is in essence is hurting her economy as well, because the number of people that are up here working and then sending money back home to help support their families, you know. So but again, immigration is immigration. It don't matter who you are, where you at. You know, you got to pay attention to the laws inside that country. Otherwise, you can get boxed up and shipped out in a hurry. You know, so
Yeah, yes, and immigration works both ways. People come from Mexico to work hard and send money back to rebuild, to help their family that might be sick, family that might not have a home, and then make a home. Remember, me, a Central American, and we send money and built a house for my grandma to live in. Um, my country was a third world country. When I went to visit the first time, she was living in a metal shack with the grass hut with all that mud thing to hold it up, one light bulb. And they had to shut off the power at certain times because of the government and the things that happen. But um, we used to send money, and the money used to be able to cover a lot, multiple family members. But we have issues that have our U.S. government has caused in other countries, like within Mexico, 2006, the Fast and Furious scandal that happened. They were trying to send guns to track cartel members, but most of those guns got lost, ended up on the street, and committing crimes in Mexico. So, you know, depends on the who you want to call criminal right there. Those were laws broken over here in the United States by the ATF.
well,
Be
and again, they got the same thing going on down there. You got Americans down there running around trying to make connections with the cartels to get those drugs and bring them over themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, I
Yeah,
mean, again, it goes both ways. I mean,
goes both
and that's
ways.
what oftentimes they'll go down there, you know, instead of having money with them, they'll have guns because you know the cartels want the guns, you know. So I mean, again, it goes both ways, man. I mean, just
Hmm.
like they got people coming up here trying to establish their, you know, their drug trade or whatever. You got people going down there trying to do their own thing. I just seen a thing the other day where a dude made what was it, like $800,000 in a certain period of time. He was a border patrol, not border patrol, but a border. He worked on the border, you know, in the inspection lines at Tijuana, San Pedro,
Border crossing.
at the border crossing, and he had made connections with two or three different cartels, and he'd give them a time slot. Okay, you come through my line at this time, and I'll wave you right on through.
Yes, and people forget. They forget scandals like that.
Yeah,
That's not even a secluded event. There was a sheriff chief. She got caught importing fentanyl through the mail system from China.
yeah,
Um, we have other COs in prison that has been caught smuggling drugs. Um, and other law enforcement has been caught. So remember, it's not illegal immigrants; it's criminality, and the criminal element is everywhere. And we do need to combat that. But to scapegoat and say immigrants, we they're the criminals, and and blanket everybody. And then in that line, you also blanketing certain citizens because of their color, because of their ethnicity, and you're violating rights. That's a
And
whole
like you're
other.
saying, I mean, crime doesn't know color. I mean, crime
Mm-mm.
is just crime. I mean, it's all people, all nationalities, all
And
color, skin tones, whatever. And everybody has criminals. So to
yes,
say that only this one sector of society is the criminal element is 100% false.
yes, and I believe we have a disproportionate idea of criminality. And this is a conversation that we as a country, and we might have to press our politics leaders on it, because things get labeled like white collar crime. And these are major crimes. Like, I know you might have somebody in the street might be selling to feed their family or their daughter, their son, or whatever it is, their wife, right? But then you have these so-called white collar crimes that people pillage and steal from poor people and get away with it with a slap in the wrist or a fine, and still able to retain all that money. There's so many white collar crimes that some of these millionaires, billionaires, and even other people do, and they're labeled white crimes, and they get like a slap in the wrist, a fine, not even jail time. And I believe like that Iron Brown scandal and all that, people that play with other people's livelihood, especially multiple. If you're a person that stole from multiple people hundreds of thousands of dollars, you need to go to jail. We can't be like, well, pay a fine and that's fine and bye. Uh-uh.
Well, but again, like you say, the system is rigged. They even actually got separate prisons for white collar criminals. I mean, most of the time they end up in federal prison where they got all the amenities. I mean, they can go golfing, they can play tennis while they in prison. That doesn't make any sense. But even within the state systems, I mean, again, I was at for those, transparency, keeping it 100. I've been locked up, ain't no big thing. But again, here in California, was it a California Men's College, San Luis Obispo? Up here in Northern California. That was a white collar prison. I mean, on the what was it on the CMC North? I believe it was what they call it East. No, so CMC West was the white collar, and then CMC East was a hospital. That's where they were sending, all the transsexuals and stuff like that.
And
You know,
yeah, 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 and that's, and it's good that you point that out. That, and that's crazy that they have separation. And you know where you could tell that at? When Epstein first got prosecuted and had ways to get in and out the prison during the day, basically club fed for him right there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
a person that has horrific crimes, horrific. Okay, we know what he's done, and it's all over. We don't have to say what he has done. But when he got prosecuted, he got a sweetheart deal. He could leave during the day. You only had to can't come in the evening to the jail.
I mean, they go out on what they call a work furlough.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
work release where they go out during the day and they're supposed to have a job, and then at night they come and lock themselves back up. Well, they not locking themselves back up, but they had to come back to the facility at night.
hmm
Spend the night, get up in the morning, and go back
go
out
back.
and do what you do.
And
You
how
know,
and how is that a prison? How is that isolating you from society so you can reflect on your crimes? Where happened to that? Just come and check in so we know you're here and sleep here.
I mean, again, that's the system's always been rigged. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever be equal. I mean, it's a lot more equal now than it was in the past, but it's still not equal,
Yeah.
So anyway, we at that time slot, so we're gonna move on to the next one and let my brother drop a couple promos on us, and then we'll get into this next one.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United.
Hustling jingles, $10 a shots. Birthday beats and holiday knocks. Gotcha covered for the ones you love. Personalized joy like a custom glove. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford. Got a catchy tune for your babe. Poppin' beats like dreams we crave. For Mama's Day or Papa's cheer, let's make smiles from ear to ear. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford.
All right. Well, Tisha says, goody, goody. Hey. So good morning, Tisha.
Good morning.
But anyway, I mean, check out these jingles, y'all. I mean, my brother here, Pedro, he does some amazing things with these jingles. He just did a couple for a friend of ours, and I mean, when we were listening to the jingles, I mean, it almost brought tears to our eyes. I mean, it was, don't get me wrong, it was really, really, really good. But the way he was able to get it to say what, the customer wanted it to say, I mean, it's showing appreciation for different stuff and whatever. But man, it was deep. It was really, really deep. I mean, those jingles are going to be, something they hold on to for a lifetime. So again, my brother can work magic with them jingles. So for whatever occasion you got coming up, you just want to say thank you to somebody, whatever, Pedro can make it happen for y'all. So
Yes, yes. And it'd be different types of genres, guys. The customer told me that the person that we presented the jingle to was about to tear up. Well, he wanted to tear up, he just didn't because he was in public, and understandable. Even as her, she wanted to tear up, and I think she did, And these jingles are meant to be heartfelt. It could be exciting. It could be celebrating a individual, an event. So, they're
right.
all custom made. With the touch of, you know,
You can
So
get
info at
rap,
Blind United.
you can
hmm
get rap, hip hop, country western, spoken word, just you name it, R&B. It can be
Folk.
whatever, all
hmm
different folk, but just so many
Soul.
different genres, So again, you get to customize it, and as they say about Burger King, have it your way. So uh, check us out. Don't forget about what we're doing there. Pedro is working magic with that stuff. So let's get into this next one. I mean, we keep hearing about foreign aid and all of the it's in the news a lot, and the media is making it sound like this department has already been shut down. And actuality, it hasn't. So anyway, check this out, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Hey, Blind United crew. For our next cup, we're going to tackle a very serious topic that has appeared in policy discussions: the future of U.S. foreign aid and the role of the agency known as USAID. A deeply alarming scenario has been discussed in policy circles and online regarding the potential dismantling of the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, and its catastrophic human cost. However, it is crucial to state clearly at the outset that, based on all verifiable facts, USAID has not been dismantled. It remains a fully functioning U.S. government agency. The story of its closure and any studies based on that premise are describing a hypothetical scenario, not a current reality, This hypothetical is fueled by a very real and ongoing policy debate in Washington. Conservative policy blueprints, such as the widely discussed Project 2025, have in fact proposed major restructuring of the federal government. These plans call for significant changes to foreign policy, including folding USAID's functions into the State Department and potentially slashing its budget, which supporters argue would increase efficiency and prioritize an America First agenda. This debate is critical because the actual work of USAID is vast and has global consequences. For decades, USAID has been the primary vehicle for U.S. foreign assistance, administering programs that fight global health crises like HIV, AIDS, and malaria, provide life-saving vaccines to children, deliver emergency food aid to famine-stricken regions, respond to natural disasters, and fund programs to support democracy and economic stability abroad. The core of the political conflict lies in two opposing views of foreign aid. One side argues that the U.S. should dramatically cut its foreign assistance budget to focus on domestic problems. The other side argues that foreign aid is a critical tool of national security and diplomacy, preventing crises like pandemics and conflicts before they become larger, more expensive problems that could directly impact the United States. While the dramatic dismantling has not occurred, the debate over funding and the future mission of USAID is a very real and high-stakes battle in Washington. The debate over foreign aid touches on America's role in the world and our national priorities. We invite you to not only share your thoughts on the importance of U.S. foreign aid programs like USAID, but also share in the comments which global issue, such as health, hunger, or disaster relief, you feel is most critical for the U.S. to support. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, I mean, again, I think this is a very, very important department. I think, it's very, very important. I mean, I look back at like Obama, right? He headed off because of his foreign aid policies, was able to head off an Ebola breakout in America, right? Uh, he had programs set up that had Trump not shut him down as soon as he came into office his first term, probably would have gave us a little heads up on COVID, rather than getting hit blindsided the way it did, and then, oh boy, trying to be in denial. And I remember back in the very beginning where he left them people out on on a cruise ship because they had a COVID breakout outbreak on the cruise ship, and he didn't want to let them people come back to shore, but simply because at that particular point there was no reported cases of COVID in the United States. But you got a whole boatload full of people got COVID, and most of them are Americans. It seemed like he's always so willing to sacrifice, even American lives. But I mean, all of this stuff, man, is really, really important. It helps us, have a pulse on what's going on around the world, especially when it comes to our health and security and, all this other kind of stuff. So, again, they need to quit playing games with this stuff. I mean, the aid that they're gonna, where they feeding the folks that are hungry. They talking about in the next year, we're talking about over 15 million people could die in the next 5 years, and and at least 40% of those are children. Okay, that get fed due to the aid that we, send to other third world countries to help, head off the famine in these countries and stuff. So again, this stuff is really, really important. Uh, I don't know what we're going to do about this orange monster. I mean, it's crazy. It really is. So anyway, that's where I go with it in the beginning. So come on with
Yeah.
it, Pedro.
Um, we need this department. As long as we're doing foreign intervention, we're gonna need USID. Okay. It's a shame that they want to start a new war. What's happening in the Middle East with Israel and the surrounding countries, because Israel just attacked several countries. Um, and we're cutting aid while we're starting new conflicts, where new conflicts are starting to happen. We've been in different countries, illegally, and some um, we've been in places we didn't have to be in. We had toppled governments, and this USID is for those children and those women that are caught in the middle ground. Some countries we haven't interfered, but some countries are third world countries that preventing famine and diseases is the right thing to do. It's something that Jesus, God, Allah wanted us to do. Help your neighbors, help the human race, you
I
know?
mean, and that's what this stuff is for. I mean, trying to help out, just being humane to,
Mm-hmm.
to the rest of our partners here, co-inhabitants of this planet. I mean, not everybody has, the resources that America have and stuff like this. Some of these countries are still developing, that
Exactly.
they just don't have the infrastructure, and then they need help. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's, they need help feeding themselves for now until we can others, not just America, but others as well, help them develop their countries where they can take care of themselves,
Yes, and that's the okay, that's the idea right there, Ed. That's the idea. Help them develop until they can stand on their own. But sometimes U.S. interest, and meaning third party interest, like companies where, well, we want their thing, we want this. Like we can't just build them up and not get nothing. And that's somewhat of the problem. Sometimes these third world countries we need to build up, let them form their government, not interfere, provide aid, and make them a friend. Don't double cross them like you do enemies, because and then what? They won't trust us. And and
and
and it's
great
been
enemies.
and it's been done several times. Our government has stepped in and been on the wrong side of history.
Look at
We
what
just
they
have
did
to
with
be. Hmm.
look at what they did with what was it, Iraq with Saddam. I mean, they toppled that government,
Hmm.
put Saddam Hussein in charge because they thought they could control him. But the minute he got that power,
And
he
and and,
might
and
F the U.S. You know
well, you
what I'm
can't
saying?
be mad at him. Look. Um, the U.S. was like, we want to put somebody we can control. Snap my fingers and you do what I say. You jump out that loop, you jump in that loop. No, it doesn't work like that. He most likely was trying to look out for his people, trying to do fair deals, and the United States did not like that. It's like what we have the term called the Banana Republic when they did down over there with the whole banana industry and stuff. They wanted not to pay taxes to the government. That they instead of paying the taxes, they toppled the government. That's where we get the term Banana Republic.
I mean, I hear you. I mean, again, and it's not the first time they've done that. They've done it throughout the history.
So,
And if you
hmm
pay attention, believe it or not, a lot of this stuff with the tariffs, that's where he's trying to go with this. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, you're gonna be at my beck and call. Otherwise, I'm gonna impose all of these big time tariffs on you and
yeah,
cripple your economy. You know what I'm saying? So I need you to bow down to me because I'm the big orange guy. You know what I'm
I'm the
saying?
boss. You know what I
I'm
mean?
the boss.
And,
Matter of
and,
fact, I'm now, my name is now Daddy. Call me Daddy, Daddy Trump.
and
Come
look,
on,
and
man.
and and if and I know sometimes, and it's look, if we're not we, and I hate to say we, but our government is gonna do that as a citizen of the United States. I'm all for the USID because it's part of that structure of that. If you're interfering, you need to have a department right next to it, because the Pentagon is interfering in different places. We need a department that could provide aid and supplies to the women and children. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
They go in
Uh,
hand in hand. If you're gonna cut that department, cut the budget of the Pentagon. Don't increase it. Cut it too.
I mean, we already spend 3 times more than the rest of the world combined. Come on. It doesn't make sense to just, I mean, I know that makes us, the gives us the strength that we, claim, right? But at the same time, you're overdoing it. It doesn't have to be that extreme. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
because you want to know why? What other department, what other business can fail 6 audits and still be cool and still get funding and still get credit? Let
Well,
me
not
know.
only that, get their budget increased. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, look at what they did during some of these wars. I mean, they literally sent sea containers
Mm-hmm.
full of cash to some of these countries where these conflicts are jumping off, and they were supposedly using this cash to, help buy influence, whatever. But then we're talking about millions of dollars just suddenly magically disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where's all this money? Where's all the influence we supposed to got for that money? No, I mean, again, they can't say where the money went. Why? Because somebody took it.
Yeah.
Somebody took it.
Yeah.
Somebody in the system took it.
Yes.
You know,
60% of the Pentagon's budget is un unaccounted for. Um,
right?
that's failure. That's failure to the max. You know, and you know, and when they talk about USID, they put Ukraine in that picture. Why are we funding Ukraine? Why are we funding Israel? Is the next question. If we're doing it across the board, let's do it across the board. Let's not pick here and pick there. No, let's do it across the whole board. And the reason they're doing it because they want to destabilize Ukraine and the accomplishments Ukraine has been doing in their conflict. Although we're posturing that we might be standing on Russia's side, this administration only though. Um,
Right.
this is a way to cut off Ukraine. Even though Ukraine's been successful, they just did an attack 800 miles into Russia. Even though they getting like a hand tied behind their back. Um, the president over there, Ukraine, is not a draft dodger. Um, so he knows the conflict and the lives he's losing, and he knows what it means to be in a hard conflict.
Well,
Um,
not only that, the U.S., AID, foreign aid, the organizations they work with, those are the people that were, feeding the Palestinians after they got bombed and had no resources. They're the ones
well,
that was going in
they
feeding
try
the
to feed the
right when they
Palestinians.
got blocked out, and then every now and
Hmm.
then they get them to open it up, and they'd get 15, 20 trucks to come through, and then they'd shut it down again. It was just enough to
So,
keep them
mhm,
alive, but not enough to
and
let them regain their strength, if
mhm,
you will.
that is true.
So
And there was some horrible scenes when some of these trucks got in, and the women that got hit and passed away is sad. But as the United States, think about it. We have Israel saying no one gets in, no tents, no nothing, just 20 trucks in a month or whatever, right? Whatever time limit is. We, as the US government, have the upper hand, have the leverage to say, hold up, we can pause everything if you want, if you don't let this aid go in. But we
I mean,
act
that's
like
true,
we
but they
can't
don't do
do
that.
nothing. That was Biden and Trump is way more friends with Israel than Biden was, but Biden wouldn't twist their arm as well.
All right, so. All right. Well, anyway, we at that point. So anyway, again, we can beat up on him all the time. So it's no big thing. We'll have another opportunity coming up real shortly. But anyway, Tisha says we love Pedro's jingles. Go out and get you one. So
Thank you, Tisha.
so anyway, we're gonna jump into a couple promos and we'll get into our last article. Did you know Blind United offers free training in assistive technology? We call them interest groups. We offer training in JAWS, NVDA, iPhone, iPad, as well as Meta Ray-Bans. We also have groups like support group, cooking groups, and crafting groups. There are also groups for entertainment like movie night and RS Game Night. For more information about all the interest groups that we offer, just email us at info@blindunited.org or visit our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Group. We would love to have you be part of the Blind United crew.
Yo, Coffee Time crew, it's about to get live. Blind United's throwing it back, 1995. On July 26th, the place to be. From 1 to 6, come and party with we. Just 20 to 5, that's all you pay. To vibe with the drive, the 90s way. Tootsie Roll, Running Man, and the Roger Rabbit. Biggie on the track, and we gotta have it. Stone Cold The Rock, bringing all the hype. Snapbacks, cross colors, the 90s type. So call your crew and step through the door. Blind United's 90 jam, can't ignore. Saturday the 26th, it's going down. Where the love is loud and the beats are style.
Oh man, it's going to be a lot of fun at that 90s jam. Well, I had already I was legally blind in the 90s, so I already kind of made that transition, but I had not yet connected with the blind community. But yeah, the 90s was popping, man. I had a lot of fun in the 90s, even though I was, legally blind, still able to have a lot of fun, do a lot of different stuff. And it was a different era, again, I had a lot of fun with it. So come on out and hang out with us.
Yeah, I'm a 90s baby, guys. I'm a 90s baby, all that. Man, it was a nice decade for me,
I hear you.
Those years.
I was born in the 50s, but, I guess some of my biggest influence was, the mid to late 60s, 70s. That was, had a lot of big influence in my life. But, again, I had a lot of fun in the 90s, so. Anyway, come on out and hang out with us. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's all about the 90s, y'all. So, break out your 90s gear if you got any. And, man, come on out and hang with us. Dust off your 90s dance moves and all that kind of stuff. So, we're going to be doing all kind of good stuff in there. So, come on out and hang out with us. So, anyway, this next one is, just shining another light on, the confusion that our federal law enforcement, basically we're talking about ICE, different aspects of this that, a lot of people might not be thinking about it, but, those of us down here where we see this stuff happening on an everyday basis, these are some of our concerns. So check this out.
Hey, Blind United crew. For our final cup today, we're examining a controversial tactic being used in federal immigration enforcement and the growing pushback from civil rights advocates and state governments across the country. A pattern of controversial arrest tactics by Federal Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, has drawn condemnation and legal challenges. Reports documented by news outlets and civil rights organizations detail instances of agents, often in plain clothes and using unmarked vehicles, apprehending individuals in public. These operations can appear so sudden and anonymous that bystanders have mistaken them for kidnappings and have called local police in confusion. A central focus of the criticism is the issue of accountability. In many of these documented cases, the federal agents involved wear generic gear marked only with police, wear masks that obscure their faces, and reportedly refuse to provide their names or specific agency identification when asked. Civil liberties groups, like the ACLU, argue that this practice makes it nearly impossible for individuals to report misconduct or for lawyers to prove who is involved in a specific arrest. They contend that this lack of identification creates a shield for potential abuses. In response to these tactics, states like California are taking legislative action. Lawmakers in Sacramento have passed bills aimed at increasing transparency for law enforcement operations within the state. While the legal jurisdiction of state laws over federal agents is a complex and debated matter under the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause, these laws represent a clear political and moral stand against these methods. They are an attempt by the state to assert its own standards for how any law enforcement interacts with the public within its borders. The federal government has often defended such tactics on the grounds of officer safety and operational security, arguing that identifying agents could make them targets. However, community advocates and many local law enforcement leaders argue that these methods destroy public trust. They say that when immigrant communities cannot distinguish between a local police officer and an unidentified federal agent, they become afraid to report any crime, making entire communities less safe. This has created a deep rift between federal enforcement priorities and local community policing efforts. This issue pits the operational tactics of federal law enforcement against the principles of transparency and public trust. We invite you to not only share your thoughts on these enforcement methods, but also share in the comments your view on what is needed to ensure accountability for all law enforcement officers. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
So let's tap into a little history here, and maybe some folks can get some understanding that maybe they didn't have before. Los Angeles, California, New York, a couple other states, Chicago. They've gotten into, this thing you hear a lot of people talk about this, sanctuary cities, right? The reason that we became sanctuary cities, it was passing, legislation within the cities, within the states, because of the fact that illegal immigrants were not reporting crimes because they were scared that if they did, somehow they might get caught up and get deported. So therefore, these immigrant sanctuary laws were passed within the states and the cities to give them the knowledge of knowing that, if somebody committed a crime against them or they witnessed a crime or whatever, they didn't have to worry about getting deported just for reporting that crime. I mean, that's the way we can deal with the major part of the crime, right? I mean, again, just somebody being here, technically, yeah, it is a crime, but they just, again, we already understand, regardless of what the little orange monster says, 95% of the people that are coming over here, they're just coming over here for a better way of life. They're not coming here to be criminals, right? And again, when they have acts of violence or crimes committed against them, they were scared to report it, and this gave them the ability, but it also gave the states and the cities the ability to actually be proactive in bringing down crime. When you got crimes that are not being reported, then crime just elevates. You know what I'm saying? But when you got people that are not scared to report a crime, now the crime rate goes down, So again, and then now when you talking about these guys jumping out, I mean, come on, man. If anybody that's lived in an urban city, you don't know that that's the FBI. You don't know that that's ICE. I mean, bottom line, these folks is dressed in regular clothes. They got these masks on. They could be the jack man. You don't know what they are. You know what I'm saying? As an example, they could come rolling up on, like we got a lot of street vendors in LA, right? They could come rolling up on a street vendor, and the next thing you know, they don't know what that's ICE. They could be the jackman. They could be getting robbed. They could whatever. They don't know, right? So again, this is not good. This is not good. I mean, again, everybody, where's the transparency in this? You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, you want to wear the mask or whatever. You don't want your face to be recognized or whatever, but at least, at the very, very minimum, wear a uniform that identifies you are a federal law enforcement. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Instead of just jumping out like a jackman. Go ahead,
yeah.
Pedro. You was going to say something.
Yes. Okay. The jacket is, I guess, but this still is gonna cover uh their identity. They need to wear a badge. Wear a badge number at that. Because if we can't say that was my victimizer, cases are gonna get thrown out the court. Okay, number one. Also, these people that allowed ICE to do this and put on masks and go without tags and without plates in their cars, those people live in a mansion. Those people live in a most likely gated community and have guards and security, right? Look, everybody that live in an urban environment or so-called ghettos as they want to call them, certain people, but these urban environments, we've seen people run up with masks, try to steal stuff, go in stores, robberies. So when you send somebody in the community with an unmarked vehicle, no plates, mask on, with a live round ammunition weapon on them, and sometimes assault rifles at that, uh uh and sometimes in some situations, gets people gets people scared. It could be a normal citizen. It could be an illegal citizen. It could be a grandma. It could be a mom, or it can be a child. And putting that visual on a child and telling them this is okay for a armed man with a full blown mask with no nothing on that indicates he's a government official. It's okay to be done to you. That's not the picture we want to set for our next generation. We always had standard. Law enforcement everywhere in the United States wears a badge, a uniform that lets the public know, even their vehicles. That's why they're white and black, to stand out so people can spot them if they need help. People can spot them and know this is the authorities. Let me pull over. And
Right.
another sad thing that has happened recently with the Democrat and the victims that we just had with this person imitating a law enforcement, you know? So, what is it okay for us to send out badged, un unaccountable? We can't even held them into accountable, you know? And look how, in the other hand, in the other side of the coin, we had someone dressed up as a cop, got a car, put lights on it, and went and committed horrific crimes, political crimes at that. Um,
Yep.
but we're okay with sending these unknown people with masks into a community. We're okay with that. No, we shouldn't be okay, because look what just
When we
happened.
never have. I mean, again, let me go back. When I was a teenager, here in LA, they started the gang task force, right? Originally, it was all based out of Parker Center, downtown LA, and they used to go into the various neighborhoods, But when they came in, it was the whole task force. They were all in unmarked cars, right? And then they weren't wearing masks, but they also had tape over the badge number on their badges, so we couldn't identify them. And they would just come in and they would just cause havoc in the neighborhoods, man. I mean, they was jacking people, just all kind of
So
stuff for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
And we fought against that. That's my
hmm
whole point. We fought against that, and we made it to where they could no longer do that kind of stuff. And now you got the federal government doing exactly the same thing that we fought against.
yeah. So yes, that's true. And think about this. Hidden identity. Then you have the mix of immigrants that are illegal, okay, that they don't want to report any incident with ICE if they got beat up. They don't want to report an incident that they might have with a citizen that most likely nothing's gonna happen, but they committed a crime towards an illegal immigrant, and they don't report this crime. You know what I mean? they're getting victimized. They become the victim. They're not the aggressor. They're not. They you do have some criminal element in there, but the studies show that that is less than 10,000. So there was a new study done. 92% of the people that ICE has detained are not criminals.
They're nonviolent, again, they haven't committed any violent crimes or nothing since they've been here. Some of them ain't even got a damn moving violation, a ticket, whatever.
I
They
know,
just
and the other number we have to keep in mind is how many people they gathered up already. 100,000. And if 92% is non-criminals, that means over
92,000 people.
92,000 people, including some citizens.
Well, documented the immigrants. I will go there. They were here, going through the process and all that. Again, some of them are American citizens, but especially when we get into, the babies that were born here, birthright citizenship,
No, but I'm saying detained as well. Just overall detained. Everyone that just being detained by
right until it's proven
ICE.
that they are 100% legal. I mean,
Yeah.
again, if they unsure, they're gonna lock you up until they know better.
That's 6 hours to 8 hours, maybe even a whole night.
And you got
that's
no get back on that.
unconstitutional. That's unconstitutional.
Right, but if you ain't got the money or you ain't got the right attorney, you have no ability to pursue that. You know what I'm saying? So what happens when you can't pursue that? They
And
get away with it.
yes, and then they don't even have a booking process that they let your loved ones know, a call or something. They have to keep guessing. And think about this. Like I always say, put yourself in other people's shoes. Take the illegal immigrant part out of it. Imagine somebody, just imagine, you're sitting at home. Would you like that your sister, brother, or someone went to work and they might not even come back that night, that day, that evening? Your son, your son or daughter, sit in the room and think about it. I might not see my son or daughter because they might get deported. Or think of yourself. I'm just going to work for my 2 kids, but I don't know if I'm going to come back. I don't know if I'm going to get stopped.
And
Just take the
something
whole
else is
illegal thing out of it, illegal migrants. Just put yourself in that shoe. Just ask yourself that question.
well, let's go also deal with the hypocrisy of this, right? I don't know if anybody remembers, but Obama did something not as fragrant as what Trump is doing, but he did some of this stuff where he was snatching people up during his term, and the right raised hell about it. Oh, they had a fit. But now that their guy's doing it, it's all good. This is what he's got to do.
Obama's nickname? What was Obama's nickname?
I can't remember what they did give him one at that time.
The Porter in Chief. That's what they labeled them as. And look, although the right was raising hell and all that, and was saying it's unconstitutional and all this, we didn't have frantic people in the streets. We didn't have people scared. There was a process to be undertaken too, right?
So let's bring this to light, right? So Obama, allegedly deported over 3 million people each term or each year while he was in office, whatever it was, right? Bottom line, Trump is going at this full force. Why? Oh, I did more than whoop, whoop, whoop. I did. He wants to be the best. He wants to be. I did more than this. Mine was better than that. I had a bigger crowd than that. Nobody ever did it better than what I did. You know what I'm saying? All this other kind of crazy stuff. So,
and if he thinks like that, I want to be the better and baddest. I want to make sure I bomb the most countries. I want to make sure I bomb the hardest. I want to make sure I post the biggest bomb. I want to make sure I could get into more conflicts. I'm the bigger and better, and I do it big and better. I'm going to try to steal and pillage the most I can and do it bigger and better. I'm gonna do it bigger and better.
Right.
If you take that mentality, this person is
Well,
gonna
and
overstep.
the way you can truly realize that, take that 3,000 a day quota that he implemented, multiply that by 365 days, it comes out to about 1.2 million people a year. That 0.2 is going to put him over Obama's numbers. That's what his goal is. That's where he's trying to get to.
Yeah.
That's why he's doing what he's doing, y'all. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just
Yes,
crazy.
it is crazy. Also, a misconception is that I hear always on the right, even if it's MAGA or just Republicans or people that call themselves a centrist. There was no open borders. Another misconception is that our Miss Kamala Harris.
We never had open borders.
There's no laws, no policy. I would like someone to point out to an open borders policy. Also, another misconception is that Kamala Harris ran as a progressive and talking about LGBT and all these rights. That's an incorrect statement to also have. She, in my opinion, she tried to run as a Republican light, saying that she owns firearms. Plus, she was considering closing the border. So we cannot say she lost because of that. I believe we didn't fight hard enough. We didn't shed light. We didn't invite some of the progressive wing from the Democrat Party within considerations when we had this last election, Plus, we had so much people on the right, politicians and poll runners, and that they purged over 3 million votes. 3.5 million votes were purged this last election due to their tactics that they used.
Right. So, I mean, again, it's crazy. Again, and I'm not 100% sure that, because of all the things that the right wing has done within the states between, 2020 and 2024, I'm not so sure that, in essence, he didn't already set it up for this election to be kind of rigged. So, anyway.
I wouldn't pass it. I wouldn't pass it. At all. He does not like to lose. He still haven't conceded the 2020 elections, even though this time, what was different of this time, him winning? We could have said it's rigged, like he's been saying. We could say the same thing.
And again, we're going to continue to have this conversation
over and over. That's true.
Over and over again. So we are beyond our time for this evening. So this morning. So again, everybody, please enjoy your holiday weekend. Remember, right now, this is it for Blind United as far as the weekend is concerned. Please enjoy it. But at the same time, always please like, subscribe, follow, share, comment, all that good stuff. It really, really, really does help. We appreciate it. So again, everybody enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Have a great 4th of July weekend. And we will see you folks again on Monday morning. Have a great day.